Man amana billah, whoever secures his relationship with Allah. Wal yawm al-akhir. Yawm al-akhir doesn't mean when you're dead. Study the Arabic language. The problems with many of our translators and preachers, they selectively take a special translation and feed it to the Muslims. So anytime you talk of Yawm al-Akhir, all the Muslims know when they're dead. Why do you tell people when they're dead? They're still alive. Yawm al-Akhir can mean what matters in the long run. What are you going to tell me of all these paradise I'm going to get when I'm dead, but I'm living in hell and you have no way to tell me to get out of this hell? I don't want to know about the paradise I'll get when I'm dead alone. I want to know how to get out of the hell that I'm in. Muslims are living in hell. They are almost dead in so many different ways. Talk to them about the consequences of their actions that they do now. That's Yawmul Akhir. So the Prophet said to the people, he says, Man amana billah. Any of you who secures his relationship with Allah, and Allah is all about what? Allah is not about sectarianism. Allah is not about prejudice. Allah is not about hatred. Allah is not about exploitation. Allah is not about oppression. Allah is not about corruption. Allah is not about kings and dictators. Allah is not about using and abusing the resources. When the Qur'an said Bismillah, Muslims translate it in the name of God, and they go to sleep on that. But if you study the Arabic language, the word ism comes from the verb sama. And the word sama means everything that is ulya, everything that is a'la. So Allah represents to His creation everything that is positive and enhancing and uplifting and excellent and good. You and I can have no relationship with Allah if we don't commit ourselves to these values. You and I can have no relationship with Allah if we don't strive to change our decadence with loftiness. So this beloved Prophet called the people you and I know as Jews and Christians and all others, and he said, come here. Let us build a community on what? On common grounds. I'm not here to talk about your difference, O Jews. I'm not here to talk about your problems, O Christians. I'm not here to talk about you, what you do and you don't do. Let us all agree to do what is lofty. That was the messenger. What do you think you need today in the community? You have too much of fragmentation. There is very little grounds for building bridges. We grew up in culture not of building bridges. Study the Muslims, wherever they come from. They come from societies that have been disseminated by imperialism. Disseminated by imperialism. Muslims generally have a slavish mentality. The average Muslim from the average Muslim countries have very little respect for law and order. I can tell you that. I always say the four-way stops you have here, put them in the Muslim countries and you'll see what we were brought up on. I don't say 100% people adhere to the four-way stop. But I drive on the road like you. And I can tell you, near to 100% adhere. You believe that will happen in the holy, sacred Islamic countries? You might believe so. I don't say you do, but I would. So this beloved Prophet, what we need to discover, what we need to learn about him is not to learn so that we can praise him and admire him and feel great he's our prophet. He is nothing to us unless we emulate his standards. We are making mockery of this prophet. We are an embarrassment to him. We are a liability to his name and his message. Because there is hardly people in any society, in any home, that are prepared to give up their cultural religion and traditional religion for the dynamic system of Allah that He brought. Because nothing good and great is achieved without sacrifice and hard work. So this Prophet was a messenger who built society. And all of us might have read this, that Allah mentioned about him, وَمَا أَرْسَلْنَاكَ إِلَّا كَافَّةً لِلنَّاسِ بَشِيرًا وَنَذِيرًا. We didn't send you to these people who think you are their prophet. Muslims think the prophet is their prophet, and they love him and they care for him, and nobody can love him like them. And they're the biggest losers because they don't follow him. They're the ones who insult him the most. They don't respect him. They're the ones who bring disgrace to him the most because their lives don't reflect his message, and they are not the best teachers to the non-Muslims about this man. The Qur'an tells us, we have only sent you to the whole of the human community. We are the stumbling blocks in the way of this message reaching the other communities. Because we have such a good propaganda campaign. We made the world feel the Prophet was an Arab prophet. And nobody can know the Prophet better than the Arabs. I hope they had understood him. And the Muslims from the other parts of the world claim they are 99%. The Qur'an said this is a message for all mankind. Because if you and I put the message in the dirt, others may accept it. People learn the message of this Prophet from the writings of Muslims. And people get some knowledge of this Prophet from the way you and I live our lives, claiming that we are following him. Now you and I should consider the kind of life we present to the world. What kind of neighbors you have? What kind of neighbors I have? What kind of friends you have? What kind of friends I have? What kind of community you are in and what kind of community I'm in? What do you bring to the table every day or every week? We certainly take a lot every day and every week from this country. We all take a lot of money, a lot of food, a lot of clothing, a lot of opportunities and energies. What do we give back? Giving back is not a very popular thing. It's like for charity, 5 cents and 10 cents. This beloved Prophet was also told by Allah, وَمَا أَرْسَلْنَاكَ إِلَّا رَحْمَةً لِلْعَالَمِينَ. What does it mean? It means the message that this person brought was a message of love. There is so much hatred in the Muslim community. I told you already, they divide themselves into Sunni and Shia. And Sunnis don't like Shia. You know that. And Shias have no reason to like Sunni too. Sunni bring all their evidences in all their books. Shia say, you have books, we too have books. And they bring all their evidences in their books. Sunni has ulama, Shia has ulama. And what they do? I told you, between the two of them, they've decimated the Muslim world for centuries. For centuries. And yet there are people who are fanatical Shias and fanatical Sunnis. Being upright Muslim is not a big thing. Being a staunch Shia and a staunch Sunni is the big thing.